Welcome back to the second part of this series where I see if I can beat the Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Challenge. Yes, this is the second part in this series where each character's job is determined by their zodiac sign, and if you missed part 1 then please click the link on screen or in the description. Also in the description you will find each character's zodiac signs and what jobs we have assigned them in case you have forgotten, but let's continue on with the story. Now that we have escaped imprisonment, Ashe is going to go find her uncle to see if she can get some help on how to defeat the Empire. But before that, let's go back and kill that giant turtle that we failed to kill in the last episode due to being too weak. And now that we have some physical damage dealers, I'm feeling pretty confident that we can get the job done. I'm using a party of Penelo, Balthier and Vaan to begin with. Vaan to get protect on everyone and heal everyone, Balthier to cast slow on the turtle so he deals less hits to us, and Penelo just there as a tank to absorb some damage and also dish out a lot of damage as well. And already I'm feeling a lot better. We have grinded a little bit thanks to just doing the story and fighting lots of enemies and gaining experience and license points, but the addition of 2 extra characters on our team mean that this is going to be a lot easier. You can see we're having less problems with the skeletons now because we don't have to rely on Dark as much, which obviously heals them up. Balthier does go down, but that's okay. We just send in Ashe, who is also very tanky. She has a lot of good defense because she has heavy armor, which just naturally has more bulk. And she also gains a lot of HP nodes in her license board. And you can see here, the turtle likes to cast slow and blind on us. Slow is quite annoying because we have no way to get rid of it, but blind can easily be gotten rid of with some eye drops, which I take a while to find, even though it's literally the first item in my item selection. Like most hunts in this game, whenever they get to like critical HP levels, they tend to just deal a lot more damage quickly, and the slow has worn off of the turtle, so he is dealing a lot more damage to us more quickly. Nothing I need to be too scared of, I don't think. And luckily having protect on us is helping quite a bit. High HP plus protect means that we are just going to survive a lot longer. And I kind of keep like dancing around him with Penelo. And this is just to ensure that he doesn't get as many hits off on us because he has to keep turning around to get to us. And you can see here when I say still, he just seems to get out way more. And now he's in critical HP mode. He's just dishing out kick after kick after kick. But luckily the kicks aren't doing too much damage. And Penelo is also blocking quite a lot, which is really, really good. The monk's poles do have a fair bit of evade on them, which is very handy. But yeah, we got through this fight with only 1 death, so that is very good. We then get rewarded for completing the quest, and our little turtle friend has shrunk back to its regular size and looks adorable as all hell.
You cannot simply rebuild your kingdom with the only proof of your birthright stolen. Without that, the Grand Kiltia Sanbo Omises cannot and will not recognize your majesty as the rightful heir.
So Ashe would like to rebuild her kingdom, but cannot do so without proof of her identity. And I didn't really speak about Ashe much in the last video, so I'm going to take a second now to speak about her. And she is one of my favourite characters of this game, along with Balthier and Fran. And the reason for this is that she's just a strong, powerful woman with strong determination because she is a Taurus. She is asked to just patiently wait here and sit and do nothing, but she decides to take measures into her own hands because she is so dedicated to the cause and cares so much about her kingdom. She's like, well, I'm not just going to sit around and wait for things to happen. I'm taking Balthier's ship and I'm going to go and find the Dawn Shard and prove my birthright.
This is something that I have to do. Not only for myself, but for all those who have fallen. I will not be made to hide.
And I really respect her. I think she's a very cool character. She's basically the main character of this game, really. The entire plot revolves around her and helping her regain her kingdom. It's nice to have a female lead character who is strong and powerful and doesn't wait to be saved. Yeah, she gets caught by Vaan stealing the ship, and then everyone decides to go with her anyway and help out. Ashe is on a mission to get her birthstone. Bosch is with her to protect her. Balthier and Fran are there to steal treasure. And then Vaan and Penelo are just there for the ride. And I think that's why a lot of people have an issue with them. But I personally don't mind it. It's nice to have people that are kind of separated from the politics that's going on and are just there to provide light entertainment and almost acts as just like an overseer, a regular person just going on an adventure, not really knowing what they're getting into, but not having much option and needing some excitement in their life and taking every opportunity that comes to them. I don't think it makes them dull, I don't think it makes them worthless, I think it makes them relatable, and it also is quite fun to watch them grow and progress and get more entangled into the story than they even needed to in the first place.
Settled. We should leave before the Marquis realizes she's missing, like proper kidnappers.
So instead of flying all the way to King Wraithwall's tomb, we have to stop off here at the Wester Sands and walk the rest of the way. And the reason for this is just because they want you to walk. But Vaan sort of explains it. He says,
so when you're in Yacht, Skystones don't work at all. That's why we gotta hoof it the rest of the way, you see?
Whatever the hell that is supposed to mean. Maybe it's because of the amount of mist that's emanating from the tomb. I don't know. Maybe it's Sin's toxin.
The toxin! Watch out!
Maybe Sin's toxin is the reason that they can't get to the tomb.
See what they think about it.
We do a little bit of shopping to upgrade everybody's weapons and armor and buy all the necessary spells to continue, including Cura and Aero, which are two very, very good spells at this part of the game. Cura doesn't only do more healing than Cure does, but also heals your entire party. And Aero is also a very powerful spell that hits all enemies. So yeah, you're about to see how powerful these spells can be in the next area. Speaking of the next area, we then arrive at the Ogier Yensa Sandsea. I believe I'm saying that right? I don't really know. But this area is very cool, and I do quite like this little cutscene that we have here. This place really reminds me of Junon from Final Fantasy VII. It's the sort of like polluted, deserty beach area that just has a very cool vibe. It feels nostalgic. It feels like this is what Junon could have looked like if Final Fantasy VII was made when this game was made, and I like it.
Heedless of the kingdoms caught in their midst, Dalmasca, Nabradia,
Newark,
Landis,
Kennedy, Davenport.
We should leave this place.
Let me guess. Sandstorm?
Something far worse.
Let's quit this place while we still can. Move!
Oh god, it's happening. These monsters are coming, and they've been given their own cutscenes, so they must be terrifying. They've got skull faces. Oh my god, how are we ever going to defeat them? Oh, okay, they literally die in one hit to Aero. They gave it such a huge build-up, as if they were going to be these like really difficult enemies that are going to destroy us. And actually no, they're incredibly easy. So you can see here we're using a party of Fran, Bosch and Vaan. Fran and Bosch can both use Aero, which means they are making good work of these enemies, and then Vaan is just there to heal us. The black, white and red mage are the standouts at the moment, especially in this area. I almost have no need for my physical damage dealers. I was very excited to get them in the party, but it turns out magic in this game is just very powerful, and I end up using the mages much more than I use the physical damage dealers. And that's very different to how I usually play this game, which is nice. It's made me look at mages a bit differently, and it's made this part of the game an absolute breeze to run through, and we gain quite a lot of levels and license points just because it's so easy to get through this place. We can also pick up lots of good items because they're the only enemies sort of in this radius. You can see here we're just picking up loads of gold loot because our chain is getting very large. If you kill the same monster several times in this game, you build up a chain and then you get better rewards when they die. So yeah, you can see when we get these gold droplets, it means we have got the best treasure from them. We have this cool side quest here against this giant turtle, and it's very easy. We're quite powerful, and the little skull looking dudes kind of help us out a bit in defeating him. So I spoke to this Moogle after, and then you get this cool cutscene where you meet the leader of the skull people, and I've played this game about 5 times maybe growing up as a kid, and I've never seen this before, and I didn't look this up or anything. It just kind of happened, and it's very cool. Like, I'm still discovering things about this game that I never knew, and that is the beauty of these Final Fantasy games. They're so jam-packed with little details that aren't necessarily in your face, and if you take the time to read and talk to NPCs, you end up finding a lot of really cool stuff. And yeah, this queen of the Urutan, she's brutal. She literally just murders this other little dude. Yeah, it's quite sad. I like the way she runs though. That's very nice. She has like a little scurry, which is quite cute. But yeah, we get these berries, which I don't know what I do with these berries though, to be honest. I've got them, but I don't know what to do with them. And now it's time to move on to King Wraithwall's tomb, and we have this really cool boss battle against this giant phoenix. And once again, this fight is not hard. You just saw how much damage Dark did there. Yeah, I think because we've been doing hunts and things, we're just very powerful. So most of the story bosses now are kind of a joke, which is a shame. It does increase in difficulty, especially once we unlock the second class, because it expects us to be more powerful than we are actually going to be. For now, we defeat him very easily, and then I go off and do some hunts. And I have this hunt here against this giant flying bird. But annoyingly, there are these land birds that are getting in the way, so we need to kill them first. I forget that flying enemies can't just be hit with regular swords and staffs. You have to use magic on them, or you have to use like a crossbow or a gun or something long range to hit them. And it takes me a while to realise that. Until then, I'm just sort of like testing out what he is or isn't weak to. I'm using Aero, and it turns out Aero is healing him. So I need to use a different spell, and I'm just sort of going through the list of spells and seeing which ones do big amounts of damage to him, and then I'm going to gambit it in after I've noticed. I do eventually switch Balthier in. No, I don't. Nope. Tell a lie. I thought I was going to switch him in. I didn't. As you can see, Vaan is also attacking our players. You just saw him hit Vossler there, and the reason for this is that I gave him the regen healing staff thing. So basically, if he attacks an enemy and hits them, it's going to give them regen. But if he attacks one of our players, it gives them regen instead. So when their health gets around 70%, I think he then starts to attack them to regen their health. It's kind of cool, I suppose. I end up getting rid of this weapon because it's just not very useful. The gambits aren't particularly suited to it. I couldn't figure out a good gambit where he would attack them once, wait for regen to come off, and then stop attacking them. There just isn't a gambit that does that. So we do end up getting rid of this weapon, but I thought it was a cool gimmick. I thought it would really work. I was like, wow, I can just get regen off. But as soon as I get regen the spell, which I believe I get in the tomb coming up, I just retire the staff because it's just more trouble than it's worth. You end up just attacking your teammates constantly, and that's not very fun. But yeah, now you can see here I've gambited Blizzard so that we can deal ice damage to it from far away, and it's going down a lot better now. Dark is also dealing a lot of damage too. It's got quite a high health pool, but it's not dealing too much damage to us. I do say that. Bosch did die, but it's nothing that we need to be too worried about. So feeling pretty good. Feel like this is going to be a win. And even though our party is dying a little bit, I'm not too worried. We had a lot of MP left to spare. And eventually the Wyvern Lord goes down. I'm preparing for the next boss battle by turning the battle speed all the way up to fast and equipping Penelo with this armlet that makes her immune to blind. And that is because we're about to fight the Demon Wall. And this is an optional boss battle, you can just run away, but I am not afraid of a challenge. Nope, run away now. I want to defeat him. It's very difficult to defeat him because you're on a timer and he eventually pushes you right back to the wall and crushes you. So you need to deal a lot of damage to him fast. The reason I turn the battle speed up to full is because that doesn't actually affect the speed at which the demon wall walks towards you. It just makes the fight quicker, and we want to kill him as quickly as possible, right? He can also inflict blind on us, hence why I've given Penelo the armlet that protects against blind. Strap yourselves in, because this boss battle takes forever for me to figure out how to complete.
Oh dear, we've got some work to do, right?
We always get very, very close. We always just a little bit of damage short. I was very determined to defeat him. I could have just gave up. And you'll see how many times we had to fight this guy to get a win. It's very entertaining, and it forced me to think on my feet quite a bit. And I'm also not even sure if it's possible at the current level I'm at with the current jobs that I have. So I did give it a lot of tries, and you will see if I manage to sneak out a win or not, but we definitely put in a lot of time into this. Most of this episode is going to be trying to defeat this demon wall, but I promise you it is very entertaining. I didn't realize you could actually control your guests in this game, which is awesome. And Vossler has some very handy techniques, such as expose. Okay, future jam here. I've realized that I called it expose when it clearly says expose. I cannot read very well, and I do end up calling it expose for the rest of this section, so just bear with me while I get it wrong. It's too late to change it now, so yeah, just enjoy me being an idiot. Which reduces the demon wall's defenses, and with that I knew that it was possible that we could defeat this guy. We just needed to get his defenses down a lot towards the beginning of the fight and then whittle him down with our strongest damage dealers. And physical damage is the way to go for this fight. Magic damage doesn't do all too much. He has a move which sends one of your teammates to the X zone, and it's basically like petrifying them, but you cannot bring them back at all. So like at least once in the fight, usually around halfway, he will just remove one of your party members completely from the battle. So there's a lot of RNG involved with this fight. You have to make sure that you get off enough exposés with Vosla, because sometimes it can fail. So you need to get a lot of exposés off with Vosla towards the beginning of the fight. You need to make sure that your party members are protected against blind, and if they do get blind, you cure it off immediately. You also need to make sure that he doesn't send your strongest character to the X zone. You also want to make sure that your characters get in enough hits. So there's a lot of factors that are going against you, and as you can see in this first fight, we definitely died.
Fight or run? We better decide fast.
So I decided to try again with the same sort of setup and hope that the RNG is a little bit better this time. I'm using a party of Van, Fran and Penelo for this one. I do switch out Fran eventually. I thought she was like one of the best damage dealers because of Aero, but it just doesn't seem to do too much damage, and she also has very bad survivability, so it is just better to use the strength-based characters, I believe. Penelo has died already, but we quickly revive her, and everybody is blind, which is a shame. You can see this fight is already a lost cause. I do keep trying. I don't just give up, but if you're not dealing big amounts of damage to him at the beginning and you're not lowering his defenses, it's a guaranteed game over pretty much. And he deals a lot of status effects to you. He can blind you, he can send you to sleep, he can petrify you. There's a lot you need to be doing. You need to be opening up that menu constantly. Yeah, you can see here the second fight was a fail. So we try it for a third time.
Fight or run? We better decide fast.
This time using Ashe, Penelo and Van. Van there to heal, Ashe and Penelo just to be dealing damage. I've also gambited Vosla to automatically use Expose now from the beginning of the fight, so we just get his defenses down loads, and then we switch his gambits to use attack again. As you can see, Vosla has unfortunately fallen asleep, and I have not noticed. So I decided to swap in Balfir because I'm like, maybe he could deal a bit more damage, and then that is when I noticed that he is asleep, so I believe I'd cure his sleep off of him. I'm just going through some of the time battle mages techniques to see if we can use stop to halt him, and he has reflect on, so reflect comes out and it hits Vosla. So now I know that we cannot use any of the time battle mage spells. I'm like, right, that kind of eliminates that. We do just need to deal big amounts of damage quickly. Vosla has been sent to the X zone. That's not the worst thing in the world, but we get a lot closer than the first two times. But of course he does still crush us. But it's making it feel like it is possible because we're getting closer and closer each time. I just need to figure out the right combination of characters and the right combination of techniques to use and to get lucky with RNG, and I think we can beat him.
Fight or run? We better decide fast.
But it's not. It may not be possible. I admit that. I try using gravity to see if that does anything. He's immune to gravity. It doesn't work. I think sometimes he casts reflect on himself, sometimes he doesn't. There's a lot of like things this guy can do. This team feels very good. We have the three strongest physical damage dealers, Balfir, Penelo and Ashe, and then we have Vosla using Expose. So this is the way to go. We do not need a white mage at all. Van is put on the sidelines. We just need to deal big damage quickly, and I'm just using a lot of techniques to see what happens. So Ashe gets sent to the X zone, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. We still have our other three characters. It kind of doesn't matter because they all deal an equal amount of damage, and Bosch is the next best damage dealing character, so I then send him out in replacement of Ashe. And this one is going a lot better. It could even be a win. Yeah, I stopped using Expose because I feel like his defenses have been weakened enough and we just need to deal more damage to him now. So Vosla is now attacking, Bosch is attacking, Balfir is attacking, and Penelo's attacking. And his health bar is going down rather quickly compared to the beginning of the battle. Penelo's kind of the best character at the moment because her pole can deal multiple hits. Sometimes she gets 4 hits in a row. And when that happens, like, we're sitting pretty, you know, we're laughing. I noticed that Vosla is asleep this time, so I go ahead and use the Nukai Sand, and then I'm like, nope, that is not what I need to use. I am wrong. It's the Prince's Kiss, but it's taking me a very long time to figure it out because they changed the name of what, you know, cures sleep in every game, and in this game it's called the Prince's Kiss, and that makes sense because Sleeping Beauty, I guess, I don't know. But look how close we got in this fight. He had like less than a quarter of health left. I'm so sure that we can defeat him. I'm not going to give up. I must try this. This is only the 3rd battle or 4th battle. I feel like we do just need a few more levels though. So I run around a bit and kill some enemies just to gain 1 level, because I feel like with 1 level we can do it. While we do some minor grinding, I'm going to ask you guys to please like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. After looking at the statistics, the amount of people that watch my videos that are actually subscribed to me is kind of crazy. So if you do enjoy my content and you are a frequent viewer, then please hit the subscribe button. Do it. It really helps out the algorithm and helps my channel grow so that I can create more content for you guys in the future. Okay, attempt number 5 now, and we're using a party of Penelo, Ash and Balthier again, as they are my strongest hitters, and immediately he's getting blind out on us, so we have to make sure that we are curing that as quickly as possible. It took me a little bit of time to realise that they had blind on them, which is quite bad, and then it takes me a while to find where the eye drops are in my drop down menu. They are actually the first item in my menu, but whoever looks at the first item, right, you're always searching for it when it happens to be in the most obvious place possible. But as soon as everybody's blind has been taken off of them, the fight can actually begin. I do feel like it took me a bit longer than it should have to realise everybody had blind on them, which means that this attempt may not be going as well as I thought. We're still using Expose from Vosla to get the defences down. Penelo, unfortunately, is the one that has been sent to the X Zone, so we swap her out for Bosch because he is the next best damage dealer, and then we switch Vosla's gambits over so that he is automatically attacking, as he's dropped the defenses down enough, and you can just see how much more damage our attacks are doing now. And he's getting us towards the end of the wall, and he's got a tiny bit of health left, but nope. Unfortunately, he crushes us again. But that time was very close, and we didn't notice the blind on us for a while, so better RNG and recognizing when we are blind, we should be able to take it in the next one, right? And in the next fight we get so close, but again we die right at the last second. But that was like the closest we've gotten, so I try once more, and as you can probably guess, we die again. And then we die again, and I feel like we are just so close. We just need some really good RNG and just a little extra push. So I noticed that Balthier has some license points, so I give him some battle lore to increase his strength, and then attempt this fight one more time.
Fight or run? We better decide fast.
Okay, so this is now attempt number like 9 or 10 at this point. I actually have lost count, to be honest, but we are now a little bit stronger than we were before, and I'm using laser focus to see when people are blind. As you can see, Balthier and Ash are blind, and I immediately go to use some eye drops on them. Balthier's attack has increased quite a bit now, so he should be doing enough damage to get through this fight. Vosla has also been blind, so straight away we sort that out. Penelo is the one that gets sent to the X Zone, which is a little bit unfortunate. I think Ash is probably the best one to be sent to the X Zone, but either way, it doesn't really make a huge difference who they choose because they all do pretty much the same amount of damage. And as you can see here, his health bar is getting pretty low quite quickly. Bosch gets put to sleep. Not a huge deal because Bosch isn't dealing too much damage, but every bit of damage counts in this game. So we get that off straight away. And Ash has been silenced, but silence doesn't matter. And the health bar is getting very low. And I'm like, this is it. We are so close, and then BAM! We finally do it. So it is possible to defeat the Demon Wall at my current level at this stage in the game using the party that I have. It took a lot of fiddling around. It took a lot of swapping around the gambits and party members and things like that. But that is what makes this challenge so fun, is figuring out things like Expose that can make fights like this a lot easier. But of course, it is not over yet because there is a second demon wall when you go into the next room. And I was like, oh Jesus.
Oh, Jesus. Gross.
I forgot you have to do this twice. But fear not, this fight is infinitely easier than the first one. The road that you have before the demon wall crushes you is very long. This demon wall also doesn't deal as many status effects and isn't as strong and has a smaller health bar. After all of our preparation for the last one, I was was like getting ready for another difficult fight, and you can see there our hits are just doing way more damage than they need to be doing. We don't even really need exposed, to be honest. I had it there just in case. I quickly turned that off because I'm like, clearly we do not need that. We can just go in all damage. He barely even gets halfway through his bridge before he goes down. So that's 2 demon walls defeated. We can finally get on to King Wraithral's tomb. So this is the first of a few of these dungeons that you go through in this game, and they all have their own unique puzzles and things like that, and they're some of the more interesting parts of the game because they force you to think on your feet. They're quite difficult, and you have to navigate them in a certain way that is much more difficult than when you are just in the open world, and I really like them. There's a hidden bit of treasure here, which is a Scathe mode, which is just like an item that deals a lot of damage to an enemy, so that's nice to have. I will probably end up forgetting that I have it and never use it through this entire run, but maybe I'll remember in the future and actually use it at a pivotal moment. But that's just a nice little reward for going the extra mile and doing some extra puzzles. As this is the first tomb that we go through, the puzzles are not difficult at all. It's just a case of going through the tomb and finding the specific switches to hit and then finding the exit, and we do so very easily. And the battles in here aren't too difficult thanks to our black mage Fran dealing lots of damage to them. And then we get this cool little cutscene where the game tries to explain to us more about what Mist is, and it's basically like the hippy dippy version of the live stream from Final Fantasy VII. It can be used as like a strong energy source that can be used as a weapon and like flows through us and is in the sky and the air, and Fran knows how to channel it because she's like a super hippy dippy queen. Yeah, it's kind of cool. That is basically what the Empire is trying to do. They're trying to harness Mist into weapons to destroy cities and things like that. It's kind of an important part of the plot, but you don't ask too many questions about it. The Mist is just Mist, you know? Okay, boss battle time once again, and we have this boss battle here against Belias or Belias, not quite sure how you say it. It is the Fire Lord summon monster thingamabob instead of Ifrit or Ifrit, and for some reason Ifrit and Shiva and all of those are now the name of some ships, and the summons are different than all the other Final Fantasy games. It's something to do with the world that we're living, the world of Ivalice. They just have different laws and different summons compared to the other Final Fantasy games. And the summons in this game are kind of a bit whack. Like, they're not the most fun. They use up your quickening bar, and it's much better to do quickening damage to the enemies than it is to summon a random monster, because they don't really do too much. Summons in this run have been banned simply because I just want to make it as hard as possible, but honestly they're not very good, so it wouldn't matter if I were to use them anyway. He's very easy simply because we are just quite powerful. He can cast oil on you, which means fire damage does more damage to us, but if we could beat the demon wall, we can beat this guy, and he goes down quite easily. As previously mentioned though, we are allowed to license summons so that we can gain new techniques, but Mr. Belias here does not give any new techniques to any of our party members, so we do not license him to anyone. But hey, cool that we got him. Okay, now we have the Dawn Shard, we can go take it back to Judge Geese and be like, hey bro, I'm the princess, here's the Dawn Shard, and then whoa, turns out they only wanted us to go get the Dawn Shard so that he could turn it into Nephesite and turn it into a weapon to destroy more nations. And it's like, damn, we got fooled again, and Voslin knew this and he's a traitor, and it's like, oh, the plot thickens. This is kind of a pivotal point in the story where I'm still invested. I understand what's going on, I understand who the characters are and what's happened and their intentions and blah blah blah, and it's like, damn, we did all that work so that Ashe could prove herself. They had her gagged, they had her gooped, they had her fooled from the beginning.
Honestly, I am a little very gagged.
Hey, I didn't see it coming. They caught me by surprise. I thought they were going to be like, okay, fine, you're the princess. Let's all be friends and happy and blah, blah, blah. But obviously not. The Empire's evil and they're just out for themselves. So we, of course, get arrested for the 5 millionth time. It's time for Judge Geese to test out this Nephesite. They don't want to do anything too drastic yet, so they're like, we're going to put it into a cannon and see what happens with it first. You can infuse Nephesite into people so that they become mega powerful, but they're like, let's just like test out the stone first. But Fran and her magical magical bunny powers are like, ooh, that's a lot of mist going on, it's burning.
6,800, 6,900, 7,000.
It's over 9,000!
And the award for most outdated meme goes to Jamsack with over 9,000. Give it up for Jamsack, everybody. Woo! Things are not looking good for Fran as the mist is getting stronger and stronger and everyone is starting to panic, and she just decides to whop this guard in the face, and then it's like, oh god, what's happening? Her fingers start to curl up, she screams, then she jumps in the air, kicks a guard in the head. This is the most badass thing this game has done thus far.
What's wrong with her?
I always knew Fran didn't take well to being tied up.
It's time for our party to escape their shackles once again, and luckily Balthier is used to this by now and manages to get us all out. And just as we are about to escape, we are halted by Vosla, who says that the future of Dalmasca will not be stolen, assuming that we are the bad guys, when in reality, we want the best for Dalmasca, but now we have a boss battle against him, and what's cool is, because Fran is in her crazy mode due to the mist, she actually has Berserk on her, and you can't get rid of it, she is just Berserked for the rest of this fight, which is really, really awesome, but not very awesome because she is a black mage, and now she's just attacking with her staff, which is doing barely anything, and we can't seem to swap her out either. Her name always seems to be in red. Vaan is still attacking our party members because he has that crappy staff that I mentioned earlier. I swap him out because we don't really need any healing, we just want to do damage to this guy, and he's not too much of a problem. He does actually end up killing Fran, I believe, but that's okay because Fran was not doing much anyway. So quickly we swap her out and then we bring out Bosch to do the final hits, and that is the final boss of this episode defeated. Vosla makes some questionable noises in front of Bosch while he's knelt down, but now that we have defeated him, it is time to finally escape. And we need to escape quick because that Nephesite is going crazy in the machine. I don't think they realized how much power the Nephesite had, and it's going to cause a massive explosion, getting rid of Geese and everybody inside. But don't worry, our heroes do manage to escape. And now it's time for me to escape back to reality until next week, of course, when this adventure continues. And I want to give a quick shout out to Moto3112 and JK6926 for the tips on the last videos. And if you want to also leave a tip, you can using the thanks button on YouTube. It would be very much appreciated and helps my channel out massively. If you cannot afford a tip, that is also fine. You can just leave a like and a comment, and of course subscribe to my channel. We also have memberships on this channel, so if you want to join as a member and gain early access to new videos, as well as behind the scenes footage, special community posts, and other lovely perks and benefits, then you can do so using the membership button in the description. But until next time guys, my name has been Jamsack. See you all next time.